Then, Moen lifted his head slightly and looked at Anne, continuing to explain his plan. So, our goal is not to kill or awaken her, but to find the source of the contamination caused by the evil god, which is the medium through which the evil god exerts its power. Rings, necklaces, accessories, amulets, and so on. There must be such things here. The rules of this world do not allow the deployment of power out of thin air. Even gods cannot. So the source medium must be by her side. I need you to clear a path for me. And lowered his head and looked at Moen, feeling a little puzzled. She didn't immediately understand what he meant. She asked him, "Clear a path?" "That's right. You use your power to suppress her, while I rely on my own flexible mobility to search for the source of the pollution beside her. Just 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, if I still can't find it, we'll run away immediately." And still has one more question that she doesn't quite understand. "But young master, even if I add metal objects, I may not be able to suppress Aluca now." Moen comforted her. "Don't worry. I will catch her attention later and try my best to let her off guard. Then, you give her another heavy blow and seize the opportunity to suppress her." And found an open area in the forest suitable for landing. She immediately flew towards the open space and gently placed Moen on the ground. When Anne heard that Moen intended to use himself as bait to attract Aluca's attention, she became extremely agitated and opposed his plan. "No," and temporarily transformed her wings back into her magical energy. She placed her hand on her chest and walked up to Moen with a hint of nervousness, trying to dissuade him from doing such a dangerous thing. Even if Aluca has not yet been fully sacrificed, she is still a genuine evil god. If young master is used as bait and takes on such a big risk, I would rather take you." Seeing Anne so worried about him, Moen closed his eyes and smiled at her. Moen extended his finger and gently pressed it against Anne's lips, stopping her from continuing, and looked at Moen with worried eyes, unsure of what he was going to do next. Even if Anne didn't remind him, Moen was very clear about how powerful Aluca's current power was. Even though he knew he would face danger, he still made up his mind to attract Aluca's attention. "Now it's just us here. I don't have combat effectiveness, so I must be the one to make the bait. As for the dangerous aspects, Anne, you are my greatest strength. I can confidently entrust my back to you. As the best maid in our family, you will definitely protect me, right?" Moen looked at Anne and gave her a confident smile. And has a powerful ability to fight against Aluca, so Moen firmly believes that she can ensure his safety. After all, he has never been disappointed with her ability, and was deeply moved by what Moen said. She hadn't expected Moen to place such great trust in her. She stared at him blankly and slightly widened her eyes. She whispered, "Young master." The moon listened attentively to the conversation between Moen and Anne in the night sky, silently accompanying them. At this moment, a gust of wind blew by, taking away some leaves from the forest. Now, the area they are in is very quiet. After Moen finished outlining his plan, and had already understood the relevant procedures. At this point, and still had a question to ask Moen. "But young master, How do I know the timing to take action? Moen said to Anne. Don't worry. The timing is now. Moen is still falling at a very fast speed. Aluca used its blood to create countless arms extending towards Moen. Just as these bloody hands were about to capture Moen, Moen shouted out these words very loudly. At this moment, the iron pillar suddenly changed, as if someone was controlling it. The person who controls it is Anne. Upon hearing Moen's words, Anne immediately melted the iron pillar into her magical energy and emerged from it. From just now on, she hugged herself with both hands and closed her eyes, secretly hiding in the iron pillar where Moen had just stood. She listened carefully to Moen's words in the pillar until he gave the order. Anne! Moen shouted her name loudly and received instructions from Moen. After the iron pillar was melted by her, all the magical energy quickly spread outwards like water and immediately surrounded her. With a gentle wave of her hand, she gathered a portion of the magical energy into her left hand and formed a long iron sword. Anne opened her eyes and looked ahead with a firm gaze. She raised her hand and aimed it towards the direction where Aluca was located. She uttered a spell. Defense. Soon, the magical energy around Anne received her command. They quickly split into one small iron ball after another behind Anne, forming many sharp short swords. They all shimmered with silver light. Then, they turned around and quickly charged towards the direction where Aluca was located. Noticing that Anne's large number of short swords were flying towards it, Aluca knew that someone was about to attack it. It quickly summoned a large amount of blood from its body and formed many huge spikes around its body. These spikes enveloped Aluca's body like a protective shield, protecting it from harm. However, before the protective cover could be completed, these short swords had already reached their positions. Like many launched missiles, they all landed on these red spikes and made a loud noise. They all plunged deeply into the red spikes and splattered a lot of blood. Due to the immense power of these short swords, Aluca suddenly felt a great pain in its body, as if it had suffered hundreds of times more damage. It couldn't help but let out a painful howl. Ah! Even though these spikes protect it, it is difficult to avoid injury. It raised its hand to block its head, trying to avoid being attacked by more short swords. However, this is still of no use. Some of the short swords still pierced it. Due to the fierce attack of the short sword, holes of various sizes appeared on Aluca's body and face. Blood splattered from her body and face. At that moment, it heard another familiar voice calling its name. Aluca. Aluca suddenly froze. It lifted its head and looked ahead, noticing a familiar person appearing in her sight, and clenched the long sword in her hand, and flew towards Aluca at a very fast speed. Aluca felt a dangerous aura. It quickly separates a portion of its blood from its body, and gathers it in front of it, trying to resist Anne's attack. Aluca saw clearly that the person flying towards it was Anne. However, before it could create a barrier to resist the attack, Anne had already plunged her long sword into its body. Soon, a lot of blood flowed out of Aluca's body. It stared blankly at Anne and murmured, "Master, did you really come back?" Due to the attack on Aluca's body, a little blood has also flowed from the corners of her mouth. It showed a gentle smile as it looked at Anne standing in front of it, as if knowing that Anne would come back to find her. Upon hearing Aluca's words, Anne lifted her head and looked at it. There was no emotion in her eyes. She answered Aluca very calmly. I'm back. Aluca. I come back to save you." And tightly gripped the long sword with his right hand, avoiding being freed by Aluca. At the same time, she extended her left hand and used her magical energy to create another silver spear. This time, Anne has made up her mind to save Aluca, who has already been controlled by the evil god.